Here's the thing that's been difficult to explain. It seems like people can't separate the conversation I'm having, which is very specific. It's
Mhm.
specifically about hardware sales. The
Okay.
PlayStation 5 is pacing 7% above where the PlayStation 4 was, according to Matt Piscatella, and I believe that's US statistics,
Mhm.
meaning that they are on pace to have their second best selling console of all time, even in a year when, as you just said, they have nothing. They have nothing, and they're seeing the sales decline. They're dealing with all
Nothing.
the same challenges as everybody else, right? But they are
Mhm.
at, according to their financial reports, they are at 61.6 million
Mhm.
units sold. That
Mhm.
is huge. That is massive. To compare, I believe by the end of the fiscal year 2017 for the PlayStation 4, they were at 75.7. We'll see what ends up happening as we only have, I believe, Q1. Don't quote me on this. 2024 reported for PlayStation. So they're pacing quite well. We'll see where they end up pacing by the end of the year, as will we with Xbox.
Great
Now,
question.
this made me wonder, where is Xbox currently standing? Now, in that same tweet, Matt Piscatella said, console hardware is fine.
Yeah.
The Xbox Series X and S is pacing where the Xbox 360 was. Now, the Xbox 360 in 2008 was at about 28 million units sold, and my source on that is NBC News
Mhm.
via Microsoft making the statement. Xbox Series X, they purposely obfuscate console sales. But
Correct.
the last leak or mistake that they had was about 2023 console sales, which put them in the range of 25 million to 27.7 million. And at the same time, the Xbox One, I'm estimating here, was at about 26.5, 27 million, about the same. The following year in 2017, they were at 35 million.
Mhm.
So I estimate we're probably around 30 million Xboxes sold in this fiscal year. And I'm wondering, do we really think they're going to sell 5 million more units to
Mhm.
pace with the Xbox One, or to pace with the 360?
Right.
What, 9, 10 million more units? Because in 2009, they were at 39.2 million. And I'm sorry
Mhm.
to get into the numbers here, but my question is, let's say they see a reduction in sales from the 360 to the Xbox One, and then from the Xbox One to the Xbox Series X and S era, they also see a continued reduction in sales. And then when Gen 10 comes, which is rumored to be a really cool handheld, powerful
Mhm.
console combo, if they
Mhm.
again fail to see growth, do the money hats at Microsoft continue investing in the console? This
Mm.
isn't about monthly active users. This isn't about the overall strategy with Game Pass. This is specifically about hardware.
Hardware.
I do not want them to get out of the hardware business because it creates basically two console life for everybody on planet Earth with the PlayStation whatever and the Nintendo whatever.
Mhm.
I like competition. I've been very clear about that. My concern
Mhm.
is that they get out, and then what are we left with? This isn't
Got
me
you.
saying that they
They
should
say you
get
doom and
out.
So,
glooming.
wait,
All of
yep, there it is, Destin. There it
yeah,
is,
Wait.
Destin. You're horrible.
it's
So what you're
sorry to
saying
throw all
is
that math at you, but
no,
like
no, no. You good.
I'm not crazy. I'm
So what
thinking
you were
about this
saying is you
logically.
don't want them to get out of the hardware space.
Correct.
You gave hypotheticals if certain things align with what you were saying. That is that going to be the outcome?
Yes, because I don't think Phil Spencer wants to get out of hardware. I don't think he wanted
Mm.
to shut down Tango Gameworks. I don't think he wanted to lay off the thousands of people that they laid off at the beginning of the year. Do you think anybody wanted that to happen? No, but what's the reality of the situation? It happened. It's unfortunate. And a lot of people have hypothesized that it's Microsoft gaming now, not Xbox gaming. So
Right.
how much leeway will Microsoft gaming continue to give the Xbox branch and the console hardware? That's concerning to me, and that's the only that's basically all I'm trying to bring up about the
Mhm.
topic. Monthly active users 500 million, like that's insane. Game
That's right.
Pass is doing well. Game Pass has more subscribers than they've sold consoles, so
Mhm.
obviously that's seeing positive growth.
Mhm.
And like there's a lot of positive things going on, and I'm going to talk about that on my stream here in a little
Mhm.
bit. But the topic of hardware was where I was at with PlayStation and how they're doing, second best selling console ever, and
Right.
Xbox pacing to have the second worst selling
Mhm.
console ever.
No,
That's
the
the
360
disparity.
was the worst console that Xbox sold, or
No,
was it
but
the best generation?
He's saying this right
yeah.
above the X, right below the Xbox One.
So the
Mhm.
Xbox 360, the last figure I saw was 85 million. Some people said it might have been a little bit higher than that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then the Xbox One capped out because of that ID at Xbox leak from Brazil.
Right.
Capped out around 58 million. And it
Mhm.
seems like we all like the Xbox Series X. Everybody agrees the components in there are good, but it's pacing below where the Xbox One was pacing.
Right. And I got a follow-up question to you, reference, because you're making some fantastic points. I think the questions I have is, one, obviously you mentioned Matt Piscatella's tweet in reference to the console market being doomed. And one particular
Matt,
reference.
sorry, to clarify, Matt actually says the console market's fine and people
Yeah,
shouldn't be
not
worried
doomed.
about it. Yeah,
right,
not
correct.
doomed. Yeah.
So one reference point he mentioned was college football 25, right? And the fact that, he expects to see a huge boost on the platform, the consoles, and reference that because we do know next gen only, right? Sorry, Alex, not PC on this one, but
That's fine. I'll let you peasants speak. It's fine.
So I mean, at this point, it's like it's not next gen only; it's current gen. Like we years into the development.
You know what I meant to say. You know what I mean. Yeah. Thank you for that. And it's like, so current gen only, and then also another reference point that is being utilized a lot is the fact that the new Grand Theft Auto, which was supposed to come out this year, obviously got delayed, which then hurts console sales and people then adopting. Because one thing we do have to realize with this particular generation, it's very interesting. I call it the Sinister Six, right? There's these like 5 to 6 games that are either free to play, and you can play them still on last gen hardware. So it seems like the adoption rate for people to move from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5, from the Xbox One to the series consoles is still a little stagnated by these until there's that hard cutoff where you say, okay, you have to get that. So I guess my question to you, Destin, is with a college football 25, with a GTA 6, do you think these type of titles could boost, Xbox sales specifically? Or do you still think, are you still concerned that, hey, they are still lagging so far behind that you don't see them, beating the Xbox One?
I do think that some of the games might bolster console sales, but does anybody in chat or does anybody in this group think that they're going to move 5 to 9 million units through December of this year? It's August. It is August 11th today. So the question is, are we going to see explosive growth in the way that the 360 grew, or like, is it going to taper off from this point? Because we're already looking forward to the most powerful console they've ever made. Cerebon's already teasing that they're going to make new hardware. So like, we're at the end of the console life cycle. Sales are going to decline. There's no price cuts because of the world economic situation. Meanwhile, PlayStation with nothing has sold 61.6 million units basically through, I don't know. I wish I had it on my docket, but that's their Q1 for 2024. So they still have several months of reporting to come in for their financials. We don't know where Xbox is until the next person screws up and gives us some inkling of where they're at with their consoles.
Right. Yeah. And then the final question I have for you before we open it up is in reference to, one point of contention. I know I've had this conversation with Addict, I had this conversation with a lot of people where, obviously people feel that Xbox is not valuing the console. Like they're utilizing verbiage like, no console required, or, and things of that nature, which some people feel, hey, you're doing self-inflicting damage to a console. But at the same time, they're really about, hey, play anywhere, PC, mobile, cloud, and we don't care where you play kind of thing. Do you think it's a situation where maybe they just don't value the console? I mean, we even see with the Xbox Game Pass pricing, right? Obviously, it's very enticing to PC users. You know what I'm saying? We've seen console users, their structure kind of go up in price with the restructure, but the PC Game Pass seems to be that nice sweet spot where they really kind of see the more growth there. So, what do you say to that? Where maybe there is a shift internally, where not that they don't want people to buy the console, but they want to kind of broaden their horizon, so to speak, to get those more active users.
My whole take is, man, I hope they keep making a console, because these figures, what I'm seeing right now is that they're pacing below the Xbox One. I hope they keep making the console. I'm glad they are, but I'm worried the business hats basically are going to say, yeah, like, how much does it cost to make a new console? Like, what do you think the R&D cost is? 100 million? It costs $200 million to make a game. How much goes into making a new piece of hardware? And
Mhm.
Xbox is selling at a loss. I don't believe they've started turning a profit, but PlayStation, after 1 year, said they were turning a profit on the PlayStation 5. So every PlayStation 5 is sold at a profit. And that was when they were at like 20 million units sold. So they've sold 40 million units at a profit, right? Meanwhile, Xbox is burning money on hardware. There's some other things to consider, of course. A lot of people have brought up good points, like that's your most engaged audience. That's where they end up spending the most money. But more specifically, what was your sorry, I feel like I'm not getting to your question though. What's your question?
Well, my question was more so about the philosophical approach, right?
Mhm.
Which is, hey, play us anywhere, right? We
Mhm.
don't care where you consume it.
Yeah.
But we have to be honest that they have been catering to PC, cloud, mobile, making things more attractive, even with the pricing structure for Game Pass, to these other platforms.
Yeah, and what's crazy, I feel like I was the contrarian just several months ago when the console user base was upset about what Xbox was doing. And I'm like, I think Xbox is going to be fine. Yeah, they're changing strategies. And now I'm expressing a concern about them getting out of the console market. And all the console fanboys or fans are basically saying like, they don't care about the console. The console doesn't matter. It's all about monthly active users. And I'm like, yes, you're correct. So why keep making a console if they don't care about the console? Because that's what you're saying to me. And then people are like, oh, the Wii U sold bad. Should Nintendo have gotten out? Because after that, I watched the Boomstick thing.
Yeah.
And anyway, they're like, so should they get out of the console business? You have to realize the Wii U sold like 19 million units in its lifetime. So the Xbox would have sold like 5 million units at this point. I think they would have dropped out of hardware if it was that catastrophic. My question isn't about Gen 9, which is the gen we're in. It's if Gen 10 again sees a sales reduction in the console business, as we all can agree, the industry is evolving. We're expanding in the cloud. There's tablets where you can play Xbox games via the cloud. They're talking about how important mobile is to see their growth strategy, and PC, of course, because Alex is here. So we got to remember PC.
So that was my question to you last night. Did
Yeah.
you take a look at the Surface and see how that's doing? Because
That's down.
Surface saw a catastrophic drop in 2023, but they have dropped hardware before. They dropped the Zune, and like at some point they look at hardware and they
The
just
Windows
say
phone.
time to cut it off. Yeah, the Nokia
well,
phone.
the Windows,
Yeah.
They
I think-
dropped
I think- I
Mixer
think too,
'cause
like,
they didn't feel
they're-
like it was worth it.
Get
Yeah.
Alex. We gotta get Alex.
I mean, their idea with Mixer was so flawed. It was really ridiculous. Like they could have been still active today if they didn't just give those people tons of money and do nothing with it. I think the thing is that Microsoft, I don't think they're going to ever abandon a console. I think consoles are going to change in the future. I think they're going to be very different than what we have right now.
Exactly.
I think everybody's stuck in the 90s and the 2000s or even in the 80s where they're like, my console's selling. Microsoft has never cared about the console sales. Like surprise. I don't know like why people are shocked by this. How it's like a surprise to people. They don't care. They're using the console as a vehicle for Game Pass. That's it.
That's the
That's all it
platform,
is.
right?
That's it. They
Thank you.
only care about monthly active users in Game Pass. They don't care about console sales. So people touting console sales like the console's dying, they don't really give a shit. I'm sorry, they don't care. What they care about is it a vehicle for Game Pass? Which is why I feel like if they did a PC handheld hybrid, that would do very well because it is a simple vehicle for Game Pass. That I think that would be ideal. But they only see it as that. They only like if they could put Game Pass on PlayStation. They would.
Yep.
They absolutely would. And they absolutely and if the day comes, they absolutely will. Like
Exactly.
that's all they care about. Like
oh, great.
Oh, it's trouble. Oh, it's trouble.
oh, look at this.
Alex, so real quick, you said if Xbox could put Game Pass on PlayStation or just put more games on PlayStation, they would because it's going to make them money, right? And I am very curious about how many of those monthly active users that PlayStation reported, how many of them were playing Sea of Thieves? Because Sea of Thieves was their #1 seller for like a month.
Yes.
Right. And I don't know where it is on the charts right now, but it's very, very interesting. And it's just an experiment, everybody. Microsoft's just testing the waters to see how things go.
Yeah, testing the waters to
Yeah.
put everything everywhere.
Yeah. And then there's the rumors
All right, what
about the
about that?
Halo remake
you
that's
got-
going to come to PlayStation 5 and all this other stuff. Like these business people care about money. And that's what my brain is doing with these console sales. Right?
Why do you think the PlayStation is putting games on PC? It's not because
Out of the
they're
goodness of their
nice.
heart. They
It's
want-
not because they're great guys.
Nexus.
It's because they know we're going to buy the games.
But I do want to get in Lord Paris real quick. You know, obviously, you and Lord Destin and Lord Ryan McCaffrey went viral. With console sale talk. So the perfect second person as well to get in here with Alex in reference to what's been going on. So Lord Paris, what's your thoughts obviously on the PlayStation financials? And then do you have any extra context for the comments that may have been clipped from you and Destin this recent Unlocked episode?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on here
course,
and
brother, of
bringing me
course.
up. Secondly, it was so funny when I did that episode with Destin and Ryan. I was like, oh, they're gonna clip the stuff I said about Bungie because I was hot. Right. I'm like, that's going to be the thing. And then when all of a sudden I'm seeing these clips come out about the Xbox hardware stuff, in the moment, I did not think this was that big of a deal because I'm thinking it's just what it is right now. Now, Destin and I don't 100% agree in that, but I think even what you just said now is where I kind of lean, that they're going to keep making hardware. They're not going to stop making hardware going into this next generation.
Of course
But I
not.
think
They've
it
already
is-
confirmed they're making
Exactly.
Gen 10. So we're not arguing about Gen 10. We're talking
Right.
Gen 11. 2030 is Gen
Right.
11 for some year to give you an idea. Yeah.
And that's where I think you and I align. It's not about this next console generation. It's about the potential one after. Does that even exist? We don't know. Everyone wants to safely assume, there'll be a PlayStation 7 and whatever, but we'll be in the 2030s at that point. Who knows what the landscape of video games might look like?
Yeah,
then.
we might not even get a PlayStation 6. I'm just saying.
We might not.
Phil Spencer,
But-
Satya Nadella will likely be retired around 2030 because
Exactly.
they're going to be in
Yep.
their
Yeah.
60s. So like the leadership at Microsoft will be different. The leadership at Xbox will be different. Like, so we're not arguing about Gen 10. Just for some additional context. Sorry.
And it really just comes down to this. You can take Nintendo as the example. The Wii U was a complete disaster for them, but they didn't give up on hardware. They created something that was unique, and now the Switch is just, it just exploded. And the irony is, a lot of those games that were in the Wii U generation, they just quietly ported them right on over to the Switch, and people started buying them again. I do think Xbox has a similar opportunity. We see the games that are coming. We see the acquisitions they've done. We see all these studios working on stuff. It may be a lot, which I said, which people want to take out of context. It may be a lost cause this current generation, which I was specifically talking about the quarter, not overall.
Gotcha.
But even like we said in Unlocked, I don't see them dragging this out to holiday 2028, deciding, okay, now we're going to put out new hardware. They're going to do it earlier. I know a lot of people have said 2026. It could be 2027, but you got something like a Gears of War E-Day that you could pair with new hardware. You could pair with a handheld.
Hey now.
People are going to be excited about that. We obviously know Elder Scrolls and all this other stuff is coming down the pipeline as well. It may just simply be, all right, this generation, due to various reasons, and this is not a slight against the 30 plus million people that have an Xbox Series X, because I am one and I play on mine all the time. But it just may be that this console generation is never going to meet their projections. So why stay in it? And the one thing that we talked about, Destin, with Ryan, part of the reason is price. Manufacturing costs have not dropped, so you don't have a $350 Xbox Series X right now.
Good point.
So you can't pair that with Indiana Jones this holiday, and it's going to fly off shelves. It's still $500. And even the digital one that came out costs too much right now. You know what I mean? So that factors into it. I get people in the chat and people that want to cook me online. We're the hardcore people. But the casual people, this is typically the point in the generation where you're seeing a big price drop and more people start jumping in.
And it's a tough year for everyone this year too.
Yeah.
So this
course.
holiday season, I think we see softer sales across the board.
Yeah,
Just to
I
bolster
agree.
your point. Sorry, Paris.
No,
Only if they
but-
have software to sell. But go ahead.
No, but one other point I want to make, again, since our conversation was taken out of context and clipped all over the damn
Y'all was
internet.
clipped, boy.
Wow.
Oh my God, that was ridiculous. And y'all know who you are. And some of y'all in here too. But the point I made about 2022, that matters. They had an entire calendar year where they did not have a major first party release, and Pentiment does not count.
Hey, be nice
You're-
to Obsidian. That's the BlackRock. I like
and
them.
I love Pentiment, but you're not buying an Xbox to buy Pentiment. Which
True
was-
that. They had
was my
grounded in
point.
Pentiment.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And if you even go back to the last quarter, which is what we were talking about, the 42% drop, Hellblade 2 was the only thing they had in the last quarter. You were not buying an Xbox to play Hellblade 2, despite what you may or may not think about the game. And that's the whole point. Their reputation the past 18 to 24 months hasn't been the greatest from their own internal studios. Redfall is what it is. Starfield, your mileage is going to vary. Hellblade 2, your mileage is going to vary. They don't have the big smash breakout hit in the last 18 to 24 months, which again, coupled with the price,
Right.
means you're not going to see a huge sales.
Let me
increase.
ask this. This is for all three of the guests, and then I'll open it up to the Lords. I did want to ask about the impact of the ABK transition and how the integration now with Call of Duty, as well as being into the service, and obviously Black Ops 6 and stuff like that. How do you think that impacts them? Do you think it's still a status quo where it's like, yeah, you'll improve Game Pass, but not necessarily improve console sales? Or do you think it will have any boost to console sales? And any three of you can answer, up to you.
Well,
I think Mike. Or you want to go, Dustin?
no, go for it, Alex. I talked a lot.
I think Microsoft's biggest problem this entire generation has been three things. One is their development pipeline, which is absolute garbage, which is why so many games skip Xbox that are backwards compatible from other generations like PS4 to PS5. People think it's the Capcom whatever
MT framework
thing that they were
stuff.
talking
Yeah.
about. When I looked on Xbox's website, apparently it turns out you have to make a version for the Xbox One X or one of those consoles. I forgot which one, to then make it backwards compatible in order to actually, like, you have to make a version to be backwards compatible. You can't just do an Xbox One version to then automatically boost up. It's the same way that they do their emulation for the 360 and Xbox OG. They use an emulator for each individual game. And then the Xbox 360 was actually able to emulate OG Xbox games. So they emulate OG Xbox with a 360 emulator inside an emulator. Like, their development pipeline is absolute garbage. And I don't know why. Their second problem is their messaging. They don't know how to message anything to a consumer or to an actual core gamer. That's the second thing. And the third thing,
Only
probably the
person
most
they're
important
messaging
thing.
to is investors.
Yeah. And the third thing and the most important thing is they are horrible at marketing. They don't know how to market their product. They don't know how to market the Xbox. They don't know how to market the Series S. They don't know they're not going to know how to say Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Game Pass, buy a console or get the serve. They don't know how to say that.
We got a couple of Xbox dudes here that I respect their opinion, but
And Destin.
respectfully, I will disrespect that opinion.
Look,
I-
look,
listen,
Alex.
hold on,
and
hold on,
Dustin,
hold
you're
on, hold on,
welcome
hold on.
back anytime.
Listen,
okay?
listen.
See you in 2 years.
Here
No,
we
no,
go.
See you in two.
listen, 2 years. The percentage, the way people perceive percentages is wild, right? Yeah, they sold more, but none of them are turned on. Okay.
Turned on. Okay.
All right, so they had 125 active what is it? Monthly active users.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And Microsoft said, "Hold my beer, here's 500 million." Sit down. Go sit down in the child's place. Let's continue to have the conversation. So that's the assumption that everybody on PlayStation, because they ain't have nothing to play over there, everybody's playing Sea of Thieves, right? That's
Yeah,
the
they're playing
assumption
Sea of Thieves and Minecraft
Right.
over on your PlayStation 5, and that's contributing
That's
to
right.
100 million MAUs for Microsoft.
That's right.
That's
Let's
their
get-
strategy. It's
get
not about the
the
console.
money.
Yeah.
Get the money, right?
Yeah.
Now,
But
Game Pass is the platform. And y'all said that if Microsoft would put it over there, hell yeah. Put it in there. Invest them. If you're going to sell 61, we want part of that money. Of course they're going to offer that. Yeah, and we'll do it at $8 cheaper like we do the PC. Invest them. Make it happen. Get the bread. All right, cool. Back to your 61, back to whatever number that Microsoft is selling. If y'all said they don't care about selling consoles, all they care about is getting Game Pass numbers, because you did say that they have more Game Pass subscribers than they do consoles, then of course that is going to be the number, right? So you're going to say, what is it, like 37 million Game Pass subscribers Ultimate, supposedly, and it's like what 31 million Xbox Series is out there,
30.
supposedly.
The
All right,
estimate's
so
30 to like most generously, I'd say 31.
I'll round up.
Yeah.
I go with 31.
Not round
Yeah,
up.
It's more likely like 29, but okay.
No, I'm not
Yeah.
going to round down.
All
I'm
right.
gonna round
Yeah.
Continue,
The
King.
convenience of King is unreal.
Yes, it's
I'm
hilarious.
just saying, like everybody, we all depressed at this point as far as a marketplace as consoles being sold. Everybody's down, right?
Right.
But the conversation is Xbox is doing really bad. You know, they didn't sell 42%. They're down 42% end over end.
Yeah.
If Microsoft thought that coming into this generation, their metrics for a successful console sales will be 80 million, right? Let's just say 80 million is their number that they're looking at. And we got to get to that 80 million. Or we're going to get to that 80 million. We're at 30 right now. We're supposed to be at 40 right now, to be honest with you. 40, 41. So we're 10 million behind our actual projections. All right, we're going to see how we can get these sales that we missed, i.e. Fire Stick, i.e. all these other stuff that's happening behind the scenes, so we can make a bread in between that. Console sales are supposed to be dropped down at this point. Financially, we can't do that. Economically, we're not doing that. Transistors and everything is up. If you look at AMD, they're down in sales. Sony is down in sales, and Microsoft is down in sales. They provide those chipsets for them, so you can look at the market from that point.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to adjust it, they're always going to stay in hardware for the simple fact that is necessary. Like Alex said, Surface is down. That was the big hit because they roll those two idiots together. Now he's rolling with this guy because everybody's looking for September to get the new AI Surfaces that's coming out, and you're going to see a bump in the next fiscals. That hardware is going to go up. I project.
Wait, hold on.
That's what we're talking
Hold
about.
on, Paris. You
That's
just can't just pass
yes,
that.
yes, he has one.
Bring that back. Bring that back.
Yes,
What'd
he
you
has.
say? What'd you say
Bring
here?
that back. Woo,
Oh, no, it's-
okay, there you
it's
go. Okay, there we
it's
go.
the
We
new
see it now.
Surface. This
Yeah.
is the AI one, Copilot
Yes.
one, yeah.
Copilot.
The
Continue.
one that everybody's banking on. That's why the sales was
Yeah.
down in the AI stuff. And it's going to change.
Mhm.
And I respect Dustin because I'm glad he cleared it up. Everybody was thinking he was telling them, get out of the hardware now. No, you were saying that if everything trends likely next generation, that they would be out of hardware by the 11th gen. I thought
I would just like
honestly-
to point out, I said that on that episode too, but they conveniently did not clip that in there.
They clipped
saying.
that. They clipped it. Okay, fair enough. Fair.
I
Continue,
think if
King.
the ABK deal didn't go through, I think they would have got out this generation.
Mm.
And I see now that everything, their ducks are in order. We're going to see what it looks like from this holiday season. Now, we're not going to get a drop in hardware prices. We're not going to get a bundlement when it comes with Call of Duty on the box, Call of Duty and Game Pass. How can you market strategically around this to show that you have this inside your section, but making strides? I think next fiscal period, everybody going to see Xbox as a net positive. I think they do gain ground during this period of time. I don't feel it is doom and gloom. I don't feel that they should get out of hardware. I don't feel it just because Microsoft is percentage-wise lower, but they had a lower ceiling to sell that, so the percentage will be higher. If PlayStation is going to sell 5 million and they only sell 3 million, of course their percentage will be lower. If Xbox was supposed to sell 2 million and they only sold 1 million, their percentage will be higher. But you're looking at percentages trying to figure out who's doing worse. I think they probably did about the same because the projections on both were about what they were supposed to do, and they're both down from that. So it's not Xbox is doing worse or PlayStation is doing better. They're doing pretty much the same. They're both behind projections. And I was just clearing up the fact that those financials don't look good, especially if you got to roll in music to go with your service to change perceptions on you having upwards in services. You're not. Your services are down. But projection wise, everybody is making a big stink about one, but not the other. And that was my point. But I'm glad everybody is here today so we can all talk about that part. But I'm not going to let them dudes run over Xbox like they've been doing right now.
I agree with most of what you said, King. The one thing I keep seeing in chat and just people saying they're like, Destin wants Xbox to get out of hardware. This isn't about what Destin wants. You want to know what Destin wants? I want them to keep making consoles forever. I want them to make badass hardware and have tons of users. I want to see more people utilizing Game Pass. That's what I would like to see. But we live in a reality where the people who control the money will stop investing in stuff if it's not seeing growth. Line not going up for a third year in a row is bad. And that's what my concern is. My concern is Microsoft is going to look at that and say, do we really need the box? Or could we just put Game Pass on PlayStation? Could we just release all of our games on PlayStation and Nintendo and take our 500 million MAU and bump it up and stop investing $200 million in R&D, et cetera. And the nuance of the conversation, I think, is completely lost. Like you see Dreamcast guy talking about how Xbox is doomed. Xbox isn't doomed, but what's their strategy going to look like in 2030? Will the console still be part of that strategy? And it's really frustrating to see like people not understand the nuance of the conversation.
The nuance.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
I'm going to defend Destin here even more than he already has himself, because I was on that same episode and a part of the conversation. And I think the one key thing that people keep leaving out of what you said on the episode, looking at it from a business standpoint. In other words, to what you just said, what is Amy Hood going to say? Let's just keep it simple. Amy Hood going to look at this and go, well, we keep losing money. Maybe we don't need to be doing this hardware. And that potentially could be after this generation, once we get into the 2030s, what happens. I'll just say this. I think they will continue to make a form of console hardware moving forward, because I do think, and I've said this all year, they want to keep a hand on the wheel. They do not want to just rely on Nintendo and PlayStation to deliver home consoles. They want to have a hand on the wheel so they can still push where the quote unquote technical leap is going to happen, where innovation is going to happen with the home console. Now, if they completely get out of the console, the hardware console business, then yeah, they're Sega at that point.
Right.
But and again, I'm just going to be all talking about myself right now. When we had Phil on XCast last year, he said it then. He was like, I can see it. He can see where they're headed. We just saw this in the showcase. We see what the next 24 months of content is going to look like for them. It's pretty good. We see all the acquisitions they've done. And again, this goes back to leadership and management. If their leadership and management can properly steer these studios in the right direction and put out consistent quality content,
that cadence,
that's going to take care of itself.
Right.
It just is. If you make great games, people are going to want to play them. Not everybody's going to want to stream on the cloud. Not everybody's going to want to buy a PC.
That's where I was going to go. That's what literally I was. You stealing all the points, brother. I was literally going to say.
Wait. Xbox doesn't care where you play. And Doom's coming out on PlayStation also. So if they don't care where you play, they're happy that you're playing on PlayStation. They're making money there, but that's not going to help their console issue. Right.
But you still need a console as an endpoint, regardless to what you still need it. That's an entry point for Game Pass. Again, I'll let you finish.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, go. Like we're basically saying the same thing. The thing is, like they want a vehicle for Game Pass. There's going to be a market for people that just don't want cloud. They don't play on PC, and they're going to have a console. Like there's going to be that market. Is it going to continually grow exponentially like everybody else is? Probably not. But they're going like people saying like, oh, they got to get out of hardware. That is so incredibly short-sighted that people don't really understand the fact that they just need another vehicle for somebody to get into that service.
It's an endpoint.
That's literally
the same thing. Yeah,
it is. If they, like I said, if they do the handheld, if they solve the problems that the Asus ROG Ally has, that the Steam Deck has, if they solve those problems as a handheld device, and they allow third-party applications like Steam and Epic and everybody else to be on there, that is listen. Every PC gamer will probably buy one. Because that is like everything all together, and that's your entire library and that. And then if they're like, oh, and then if they even finagle it, you got your PlayStation games on your Xbox handheld because they're on PC.
Right.
That's the other potential, right? Their next thing comes out, the handheld most powerful console ever, and it's an astronomical success. Then they're fine. Like they're gonna stay in
Nintendo gave them
hardware.
Nintendo gave the template.
Well, I want to shout you out. Where can the fine people find you? Destin Legary. And again, thanks for playing. Good to see you recently. Got a chance to hang out with you this weekend at Traps.
It was very nice to see you, and thank you so much for everybody having me on the show. I really do appreciate, Addict reaching out, and maybe he'll learn how to say my name someday.
See you, Destin.
Sir.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Hey, if you do want to support the channel, though, you can become a member. Thank you so much to all the members who let me go on my little bit of rambles. I do appreciate the heck out of all of you. If you want to support, you can click that join button right down there. It is right there. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to check out one of my recent videos where I talk about all of the hotness that has been going on, I greatly appreciate it. It's right here. I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.